This is a charity interview.
People like, oh, it would be so hard to undo all the corruption that exists within the system. No, it's actually relatively easy.
Oh, I need to hear this. How?
It's not America first to set the conditions that will later harm America.
Yeah. Just creating new terrorists for the future.
I think that's right. And look, I mean, anybody who is honest and looks at what's happening in Gaza right now has got to be absolutely sickened by it.
That's where the hollow earth theory starts coming in.
Just another
provide the other
but
end
that
of that.
hollow earth is they're
hollow
saying
flat earth.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds.
Nation was founded by men of many nations and backgrounds.
Have you ever read about the reasons they attacked us? They attack us because we've been over there.
Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have a liftoff.
what do you want to do?
I don't know, T. Let's just go fucking start the show.
It's like we have 4 different intros. All right, Doom Nation, what's up? Welcome back. You were listening to the Two Doom Men podcast. As always, it's Scagz and yours truly, the Captain. What's up, buddy? What are we talking about today? Let me guess. Iran?
Yeah, and it's been a wild day in terms of the news about that. I love it. Captain's a little bit liquored up here. Yeah.
What
day is today? It's Tuesday. Thirsty Tuesday for the Captain. I like it. I think Captain today's kind of like Friday for the Captain, actually. Yeah. So he's going in. So there was a wild day of news about Iran. I had kind of a whole episode planned earlier this morning, and then Trump had a press conference this afternoon, which really kind of threw a wrench in a lot of the stuff I was going to talk about. But we're still going to talk about this stuff anyway.
Like, I don't know or think anyone believes it. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah, I know. Well, that could be what we talk about. It's so confusing and hard to believe anything at this point.
Like, well, yeah, the fog of war is just so crazy now that, like, I mean, can I say like what Trump said? I don't want to derail the show. Like, he's like, oh, we won the war. It's over.
Yeah, it's over. Good news, everyone.
Yeah. And everybody on like Instagram and Twitter is like, yeah, no, I'm not buying it. Like only the boomers and like Alan is buying it. That's it.
This is also like the 45th time in the past 3 weeks he said we've won the war. We'll play that video and whatnot later, definitely. But yeah, I agree. I do wonder sometimes. I do think some of the chaos around it is part of the strategy. I will say that is part of Trump's at least media frenzy strategy, and it could be tied to his negotiation strategy.
Of opium in there. Yeah.
I'm not. You come to the wrong person if you think I'm injecting hopium, buddy. I think it doesn't matter what. It doesn't even matter if things are going good or bad.
That the media frenzy is part of the wartime strategy. I kind of feel at this point it has to be, because I mean Iranian intelligence isn't cavemen with sticks and stones in the cave, so they are listening and reading every single thing that is printed and put out.
Absolutely.
So, you know what I mean?
They're making counter memes. They're making Lego videos. Have you seen this shit?
No.
They're making Lego meme videos of like Trump, and they're pretty fucking funny.
Well, hey, you're talking about Legos and memes. Lego came out with its very first restaurant, and you have to build your meal to order it with Legos, which is pretty cool. And then some guy in America got arrested for a fucking meme. I saw this just like an hour or two ago. Like I was telling you, I got out of work early today. Some dude, it's got to be somewhere in the South or something. He posted a picture, I believe, of his like local mayor or something, or some politician with the Star of David on his forehead, with the Hasidic curls and the yarmulke on.
He has a Star of David on his forehead.
Yeah, and the dude got arrested for hate speech, freedom of speech in America. Dude got arrested.
Where was this? In
I gotta look it up.
Okay.
Once if I
not to
find
derail the whole show, but I also like how you said there's a Lego restaurant. Yeah, that sounds like America. People just straight up eating plastic now.
No,
Yeah,
you're not eating Legos. You have to.
It wouldn't surprise me.
They give you Legos, colors, and pieces, and like a menu, and then you put the coordinating color and Lego shape together, and then they know what you want to order, and then they.
It sounds like somewhere Captain
sounds pretty cool.
Would eat, definitely. All right, let's get back to it. So I woke up for work Monday morning.
Shocked.
5 seconds, like 5 seconds after I woke up, I get the Truth Social notification, because I get push notifications from Truth Social when Trump posts something, and it's this post right here, and it's like right around like 7 a.m. I wake up at 7, usually 6:45, 7ish. So I got.
Oh wow, I wake up earlier than you. I never would have guessed that.
Yeah. And Trump goes, "I'm pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have, over the last 2 days, very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week. I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. Thank you for your attention to this matter." All right. So, I mean, my initial reaction was like, great. I hope Trump's finally deciding to just take an off ramp and get us out of this thing. At any moment, we could have just stopped what we were doing, which I thought was insane. There's a lot of angles to now go into this. But again, like we were saying before, it's hard to believe anything or trust anything now, being that two past negotiations have been sabotaged and sneak attacks launched during it. So let's start with this first angle, and then I'm going to lead it up to kind of the question to you is what exactly do you think that's going the fuck on? But 5 days is the ceasefire thing. Now there's been more developments later on in the day, right? But I heard it 5 days. I'm like, 5 days. Like I heard a story about 2 Marine expeditionary forces.
5,000 Marines showing up in 5 days.
And I bet you that like they're probably this is like literally the first thing I thought of Monday morning. I'm like, I bet you they're probably like almost about 5 days away as it takes to sail all the way over there. So yeah, thousands of Marines to arrive in CENTCOM the same day as Trump's Iran deadline. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Thousands of U.S. Marines are slated to arrive in the Middle East on Friday. That is the same day that Trump's original ceasefire here was set to expire. 2,200 Marines from the 31st Marine Expeditionary Unit will cross into U.S. Central Command. I saw also later today there was a story that the 82nd Airborne is mobilizing. Their commander is also moving over to the Middle East
I've heard that it's 5,000 Marines now, and then basically the Marines would land, and they have the amphibious vehicles, the assault vehicles, and they would start the onslaught, and then as they die out, that's why the Airborne's coming in. So the Airborne would be able to hold them,
reinforce them,
and the Marines would be able to go back and set up like a base of operation on whatever beach they storm, I guess. And then you'd have 5,000 Marines setting up base with the what Airborne is it? What's
82nd Airborne to
82nd Airborne
secure
keeping
the
cover on them,
like that. Yeah,
and they would just expand and expand and expand from there. Or they're going to go to that island,
Scagz Island, right?
Yeah,
which is
that island that they've been blowing up, and they're just going to that's going to be a new state for America, the 52nd state.
I saw Lindsey Graham talking about Scagz Island. The Scagz Island was actually a map in Battlefield 1 too. Interesting enough, the Battlefield 1 game and Lindsey Graham.
Oh no, I never played Battlefield. That's why.
we can do this. We did Iwo Jima, which I think there's like 30,000 casualties, thousands dead American soldiers when we took Iwo Jima. So that could be, that could have been what they were going there for, like to establish a beachhead on Karg Island. I think Karg Island's like a place that Iran, it's like an oil shipping facility.
Yeah,
so
isn't
like
it where they enrich or desalinate
like
or something?
I think it's where oil leaves
two, right?
major ports, right? Yeah. So my understanding, capture the island. They then lose it, like their facility to ship out oil and probably refine oil, and that puts a shit ton of pressure on the regime. So, ceasefire, Marines getting there, the threats about Karg Island the past week, right? Possibly invading and taking them over. So all these things are floating around. Now, later on in the morning, I see people start talking about what is going on in the stock market. The stock market magically begins to recover. Obviously so, because actually people don't like war, and the war is bad for the economy in reality. So stock market is tedious, as things going on. So people start pointing out gigantic trades occurred from Unusual Whales. Now, if you don't know the Unusual Whales page, Unusual Whales was basically created to point out stuff like this, and has for years. If you're going to be like, oh, this is a Democrat page or something like that, this is part of the whole, like, keeping an eye on the Democrats, the Nancy Pelosi stock tracker page, stuff like that. All right. This is usually pretty, like, straight up honest, not playing sides, Unusual Whales. And this is covered widely now at this point. So this is just 5 minutes before Trump's announcement to halt attacks on Iran. Massive trades reportedly hit the market. In one move, $1.5 billion in S&P 500 futures was bought, while $192 million in oil futures was sold. These orders were 4 to 6 times larger than anything else at the time. The traders seemingly made huge gains. I think the news is that they made a couple $100 million. And AF Post also at 6:50 a.m., 2.5 million barrels of crude oil futures contracts were sold. 14 minutes later, at 7:04 a.m., that's what I'm talking about. When I just woke up and I saw it, I was literally on a bowl taking a shit in the morning. President Trump announced that discussions with Iran were underway. So, I mean, what a coincidence, right?
And what I get why you're angry. Why I'm angry is because apparently there was no leaks. There was no talking about this. This was all sprung on us. So that means whoever put that $1.5 billion, what would you call it, bid or?
It's a futures contract. It's legit. It's legit buying and pre-market activity that people normally do.
So that person had to have been in that room. There's no other, like, the only people that profited from this weren't me and you, or weren't the day trading finance bros that got their pulse on all this, because all those people come Friday were getting ready to sell their stocks because we're heading deeper into World War III. So whoever was in the room with Trump before he made this announcement, fucking on the side on their phone, fucking bought all these stocks or sold all these stocks and made more money than 1,000 of us could in 1,000 lifetimes.
1,000 years. Yeah, I'm not saying it was Trump or anything like that. I don't know.
No, but somebody in the room.
The timing is, I'm sorry. If you think that is a coincidence, I have a fucking water to sell to a well, right? Yeah. There's no way. It could be, someone in the room sent a text once they found out. Dude, I don't know how exactly easy it is to move $1.5 billion either. Like, it seems like you can't just make a trade like that easily. Like, you got to have the capital sitting liquid.
If you're prepared, you are. If you got insider information.
Okay, so part of the conspiracy we're saying here is it could have just been a text was sent out a few minutes before. Very hard, I would think, to turn around $1.5 billion trade in 10 minutes, right? Like, you'd have to have that amount of money, like I'm saying, sitting liquid cash. So it leads me to believe that this was kind of known ahead of time, and that they just didn't execute until 14 minutes before, something like that. Maybe it was made of, like the dominoes were set up for this person to make this trade, or these people to make this trade, and then when they got the confirmation, they had all their shit ready to go, and they just pushed the buttons and whatnot.
You know how it went out at 7:04 in the morning? Like, I could just imagine at like 6:50 they were like, all right, we're making the trades, and like it took 4 minutes longer, and then they were like, okay, go.
Yeah, also the rush. It's like buying it's like when you're trying to buy a limited edition Funko Pop. like, at
Also,
the drop, but like the biggest on the grandest stage.
Or you should tell the happy story at the end of the day. At the end of this episode, Scagz has a very happy story about liquor and a good buddy of ours.
This is the same day too, so it's kind of like this. We were trying to buy a bottle of liquor while they were making a couple $1 billion. So who's really fucking losers here?
But there is that conspiracy that the Zionists don't need to work because it's all market manipulation. So who would have $1.5 billion to drop at 14 minutes notice? I don't know. Some pretty wealthy Zionists might have that ability to do
Captain
that.
Immediately wants to blame the Jews. I love it. It's it could be anybody. Too.
I'm not blaming the Jews. I'm blaming the Zionists.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Not the Judaism, the practicing members of the Torah and Judaism who just go to temple and pray. Not them. Not them.
Yeah, it could be anybody, dude. But my guess would be
whoever
someone
was in the room with Trump.
Yeah, it's someone who's on the ins, right? So now there's another. It could be right. Again, it would be too obvious if anybody within the immediate circle just all of a sudden happened upon a couple of $100 million right away. Yeah. It's going to be laundered, definitely. But real quick, there's another interesting caveat to this whole story, that. Trump's SEC chair prevented the head of enforcement at the SEC from investigating Trump's inner circle from insider trading, and she resigned over it like a week ago. So I didn't hear this until after, right? So
I didn't hear this until
SEC
right now.
Enforcement Division Director Judge Margaret A. Ryan has resigned, and again, like a few, March 23rd, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's top enforcement official who left abruptly last week had clashed with agency leaders over the direction of its enforcement.
They knew
program,
it was coming,
including the handling of cases with ties to President Donald Trump and his family, according to 3 people familiar with the matter. Margaret Ryan resigned last Monday after just over 6 months on the job. Reuters was the first to report her resignation email seen by Reuters did not say why she was leaving. Ryan declined to comment on phone reached by text. 2 of the people said Ryan wanted to be more aggressive in pursuing charges for fraud and other misconduct, including in cases that touched the president's circle, but faced resistance from SEC Chair Paul Atkins and other top Republican political points. So, all right, let's caveat it with it's like 2 people said it's a bit of a game of telephone, right? But it is curious timing that a week before this occurs.
I got to say, you know what? Now that I did not know this, to be completely transparent, to find out that she quit a week ago, that tells me everything my conspiratorial mind needs to hear. That's how you move $1.5 billion in 14 minutes notice, because you've had this ready to go since last week.
And maybe some Joe Kent types trying to do something, frustrated, quits.
They brought this to her attention. We're going to short the market, just like we were talking about Joe Kent, who they possibly could have went to and said, look, we want to make a false flag event. We need to pin it on these types of terrorists. We need you and your department to help us carry out this false flag operation. He said, no, I can't do this. I'm quitting. They come up to her. Oh, we're going to short the market by talking about peace in the middle of this war, blah, blah, blah. We're going to have $1.5 billion ready to go. We need you to not look this way, blah, blah, blah. I'm resigning. We could argue about Q all you want, but they always pay attention to resignations and pay attention to deaths. And the OnlyFans CEO died this week, and this bitch quit. So,
yeah, man, it's something. I mean, I think that this administration is fucking corrupt to the core. They've on every front, in my opinion, they have been a disappointment. I just want. Go ahead.
I wish Garrett was here because he would be able to back me up, because I know you're going to go with the latter. But I have this feeling, I have this gut feeling just from what I've seen, and it's very conspiratorial, obviously, but like I really feel like with all the craziness and all the nonsense and just the genuine insanity that we've been witnessing, there's one of 2 options genuinely left.
Let's
The
hear it.
first option is Q's real. All the stuff we read was real. Israel's being saved for last. The white hats are in control. Trump's insulated. Trust the plan. The opposite side of that, which you'll probably agree with, is this has been a psyop since 2015. Trump came down that escalator. He was in on it. The media was in on it. The media knew their orders were to hate him, to segregate the public. They strong-armed him all throughout his first administration. They let the man in the Joe Biden mask, because Joe Biden has been dead since 2019, and it's a guy in a mask, him run the show, and they let all these illegals in, and they fucked up all this shit, and they caused this other big rift in America, and then that we would just take Trump back with open arms and believe all this stuff. And then the second his second administration starts up, the other shoe drops, the psyop is in place. We're stuck with him now. They played the long game for 10 years to usher in Agenda 2030, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, we start this war, we bring on this biblical apocalypse, we go to digital IDs, one world government, one world military, one world monetary value. And look at where we're going, where there could be, you know, we were just talking before the show, energy lockdowns, energy crisis and stuff. So it literally, to me, like, there's a pretty like line in the sand, like either Q is coming to save us or the World Economic Forum played us for the past 10 years now with Donald Trump on their side.
See,
I gotta fix my camera.
Yeah, it's fine. Just move over a little bit. Yeah. I'd lean towards the second part of what you're saying.
I know you would.
but I don't agree exactly with how you're framing it. I just say that and I've said this a million times on the show, and every time we've had on some of our really deep conspiracy theory episodes with Garrett, like, there are just different factions of the deep
different
state,
evil people doing evil things.
People, and they're competing with each other. And I don't think the two are just jockeying for position and competing with each other. I don't believe in this whole way that Donald Trump has been framed to be the white knight in shining armor who's going to save the republic. Absolutely fucking not. He's just the front man for a different, or at least, you know, like the poster boy for a different, you know, evil group who's trying to do a lot of the things you said, but not exactly the same things that you said. Their methods and means and ends are different. They're not interested in climate change agenda stuff. They're interested in different
regime
things.
change and empire
from
building.
The other group, right? Like, if the Democrats get back in charge later, we'll go back to those things later and trans in the kids and etc. These whole things are all bad, right? Let's not have binary brain here, folks. Like, there could be there, and then throughout history, again, there's always multiple groups of evil, you know, powerful people, you know, jockeying. Game of Thrones, right? You saw it. I mean, it's, you know, it's a fucking TV show, right? But it's based, you know, written off of the you know, it's taken inspiration from medieval times and powerful families jockeying for position and things like that. Not to get too off the script here. Other, you know, and we'll get into. So again, we have the threat of possible military action, boots on the ground, market manipulations. How about this one, Cap? What do you think about this? How about if the war hasn't gone according to plan so far, as much as they're going to want to sell it as it has, and they are genuinely looking for an off-ramp here. And in order to do that, it's going to be tough, like we were just talking about last week, to get the Israelis on board with it. So just offered them a buyout. Look, when we announced this, you guys could play the market right before, make a couple $1 billion, couple $100 million, and that's part of our strategy here. Like, we're going to let you guys make some money off of the fact that we're going to try and take an off-ramp here, and that will ease the pain of us not going through with the Israeli goal of regime change completely.
I buy that. I think that's a very interesting way to look at it. My only pushback on that, and to show Doom Nation, I educate myself on this type of shit. Didn't they just charge like $4 million for like 2 ships to get through the Straits of Hormuz? They want a troll toll in the Straits of Hormuz.
Well, who's they? What do you mean? Iran or
Iran? Yeah, Iran.
I don't know if that was a story that got floated out today, right? That they're charging.
Right. So I
true,
personally don't know what money was exchanged or anything like that. Yes, to your point, this is a hell of a buyout, and what a genius way to do it, because we're never going to find out who put the 1.5 billion down. We're never going to find out who benefited from this. It's not going to be like some guy rolls up in a Maybach or a Bentley and be like, "Hey, look at all the money I made
like in
on the stock
Goodfellas, right?
market."
With the fur coat and the pink Cadillac, right? Like they don't do shit like that. Yeah.
So, but like, I just feel like, I know apparently one of Iran's stipulations to peace, if there actually is peace deals going on, is they want control of the Straits of Hormuz, which I don't understand how they still have control of it if we sunk their navy, because
a lot of contradictions.
Yeah, because dude, I'm like, okay, we just we blew with one torpedo, we blew one of their destroyers sky high. Literally, there's a video of their ship leaving the ocean because the torpedo
real quick,
hit it.
I know exactly what we're talking about. That is even in of itself such a bad faith, almost war crime type attack.
Yeah.
That ship was out near like the Philippines or Indonesia or something. And
I don't know where it was.
It was participating in like some sort of diplomatic good faith mission with Indonesia.
No.
And like as it leaves port, it wasn't like it was in the battlefield.
Yeah,
it's a war, right? So I guess you could make the point that like it's a war and there's
everything's on the table.
Yeah,
right?
so like it was leaving Indonesia, like not participating in and it was basically sneak attacked and blown up. So I wouldn't, at least I say it's definitely like a dishonorable sort of attack.
Yeah,
I guess you could say.
So I'm talking about two things here. Let me focus. If they have control of, if Iran has control of the Straits and everybody has to start paying a toll, whether we're America, China, Germany, France, whatever, I think they're going to make a lot more money doing that than they would in this one-time deal. And I think they're smart enough to realize that.
Oh, okay. So I didn't mean the Iranians are getting paid off here, buddy. I meant the Zionists are getting paid off.
Okay. Well, yeah, no.
I'm kind of backing up what you were saying before. Like, how do you? Because again, we just talked about last week how it seems like they were the ones driving this policy. This is what Joe Kent was talking about. So how do you kind of make it more palatable for the Israeli government right now to not get the regime change,
to pay off the Zionists to stop attacking them? Okay.
Yeah. Not that it's like a pot sweetener. Like, look, we can't. The war's not going the way we thought it was gonna, and we can't. At this point, we're thinking about taking an off ramp. And if again, I'm 4D chess type stuff, right? Like the Israelis are a problem. They want to go and do their own thing. They're not part of the ceasefire, right? How do we get them more likely to get on board with the off ramp we're trying to take? Let them play the market and make a couple $100 million or a couple $1 billion or whatever.
That's interesting because a big looming question I've had the whole time with this ceasefire stuff and talking about how the war is over. And I briefly saw a short clip of like Netanyahu saying, he's like, no, the war is not over for us. Like,
sure. Remember, there are different factions of bad people everywhere all the time.
That's what I'm saying. Like, Trump could say the war is over and we won and it's done until he's blue in the face. But tomorrow we could wake up and Israel could just be carpet bombing left, right, center of all of Iran, and with total immunity. And even though Trump's like, oh, they don't have authorization to do this, and well, guess what, pal? You know what I mean? Like, Israel's going to continue doing whatever it wants to do. How many ceasefires over the summer did Israel end and not Iran end?
Yeah. There was no mention of them in that initial. There was literally no mention of Israel whatsoever in that initial ceasefire announcement. There's no mention of them in the stuff later, which we'll get here to next. I also thought it was just kind of telling and ironic that like right after Trump announces the same day, the Israeli Air Force like was tweeting about how they're continuing actions in Tehran. It's like, here's our greatest ally. Just real quick to all the cocksuckers out there who want to suck cock and want to like lay cover for Israel and pretend like you're America first. How does our greatest ally respond to Donald Trump saying there's a ceasefire? They basically go on social media and continue like braggadociously, flaunting it in his face that they're going to continue what they're doing anyway. Like,
were you smart enough?
Greatest ally would be somewhat like differential. No, I'm saying be at least differential. Like, all right, look, they're our greatest ally. They're going to try a different strategy here. Let's like sit back and allow them to try and play out.
If you were America and I was Israel, wouldn't we at least talk to each other and you'd be like, hey, listen, I'm going to say the ceasefire is happening, right? Like, communication. But Were you
That's all-
smart
that's
enough
all
to like
public stuff
look
we're
them
talking
up?
about, like-
Were you smart enough
Yeah.
to look that up, or did it just come across your page?
It came across my page. Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
Because that
yeah.
was a hell of a find. That's something you should have shared on tonight's episode.
Yeah, it was
that was
it
a
was in
very
Hebrew.
coincidental find, man.
It was in Hebrew and it was translated, and people started retweeting it to show again, like as I've said in the show, like sometimes the craziest shit is always said in Hebrew, not in English. Like when they speak in English, it's always just like kind of more
Vanilla
like tempered,
toast, yeah.
than other stuff. So all right, yeah. Again, by the way, all the stuff I'm saying about the buyout, what complete speculation. I have no evidence of any of that.
Allegedly
here, yeah, it's
allegedly
complete speculation. Again, we have real jobs here, folks, during the day, and I don't have time to actually do much actual investigative journalism. If you want some of that, go to Scott Horton or somebody like that. All right, anyway, let's go over to what there's a press conference then this afternoon, which kind of turns my entire half my episode upside down. And Donald Trump announces that we won the war.
We've won this. This war has been won. The only one that likes to keep it going is the fake news. I mean, the New York Times, you read the New York Times, it's like we're not winning a war where they have no Navy and they have no Air Force and they have no nothing. And we literally have planes flying over Tehran and other parts of their country. They can't do a thing about it. For instance, if I want to take down that power plant, that very big, powerful power plant, they can't do a thing about it. It's like, take me. That's all they can do. And yet, if you read the New York Times or if you watch ABC fake news or NBC fake news, you'd say it's a close battle. It's not a close battle.
So
it's funny. I saw the cover of the Washington Examiner today, and the tide's turning. The tide has turned. There was literally a picture of the donkey in a Democratic T-shirt and a blue-haired liberal tattooed face individual as a journalist, and like the headline was like, Democrats root for loss in war. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was a whole article of how like the Democrats and the media want us to lose this war. They're not for America. I believe what Trump's saying in the fake news aspect. I don't believe what he's saying in the we won aspect.
Yeah, this sounds like war propaganda to me. It's also so just lazy. And have we not learned anything over the past 20 years, right? So what Trump is saying is that we've won the war because we have some theaters of the war where we have operational dominance, right? We are controlling the skies and we can blow up an electric plant if we choose to do so, right? Like, let me think. Like, I've been alive for not that long, and there's been a lot of wars in my time. What other wars?
I'm pretty
have been
dumb.
alive
If we blow up that power plant, then they're going to blow up the oil fields, and then the price of oil is going to skyrocket, and then inflation is going to skyrocket.
Yes, those are all second, third order effects. But let's go back to the fact that we have operational dominance. Therefore, we somehow won the war. We had operational dominance. We controlled the skies. We had boots on the ground. We could blow up any infrastructure we wanted in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in Libya, in Vietnam, in the first Iraq war. Every war we have fought in the past, going back to World War II and in World War II for the most part, we could touch anything anywhere at any time. Did we win those wars? Did we win the war in Iraq? Did we win the war in Afghanistan? Who the fuck won the war in Afghanistan? The Taliban, right? And we could blow up the Taliban's infrastructure at any time. The Taliban didn't have an air force. We did. We had complete dominance over the entire country, but they still won the war. So just because you like control certain parts of the chessboard doesn't mean that you've won the war, right? That is war propaganda. That is kind of marketing. And to be honest with you, I'm okay with it in this regard if Trump is trying to use this to save face and take an off ramp and get us out of there, right? If this guy has the biggest ego in the world, I'm not ever expecting him to we could say we lost. It could have been fucking Normandy Beach. We could have lost 1 trillion troops on the shores, right? And they get pushed back into the ocean. He's still going to say that we won that battle and won the war, right? There's no world where Donald Trump's ever going to fucking admit defeat, especially in a historical war like this, right? So could be him just trying to save face, propaganda, marketing, etc. And again, like I said, to be honest with you, I'm okay with it in reality because I don't want our soldiers being sent into a meat grinder to die for some abstract
still going to happen
idea or some other foreign nation's interests.
I really think, we definitely took off too big of a bite than we could handle.
I think so too.
I blame that fully on Israeli intelligence. Also, I think it's time to, they're really ringing the alarm on the midterms. This is wildly unpopular. We could
I think
stop
they're actually
bombing them.
acknowledging that now.
Yeah, we could stop bombing them for the next March is ending, right?
10
So
months,
we got
something like that.
Yeah, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. We got 8 months, right? When do the primaries begin?
November, right? Usually.
No, isn't the midterms in November?
Yeah. Talking about what primary? The primary for the midterms.
Yeah, for the midterms, yeah.
I'm not sure. They're all different based on where.
So I mean, I gotta imagine by the end of spring, everybody needs to start campaigning and primaries and all that. We need to get this out of the way now. This has gone disastrous. This isn't, the Operation Midnight, whatever, where we just bombed them for one night. This isn't the Capture Maduro, where it took us 2 hours and everybody's back in New York having cocktails. This went completely different. I think they thought that
kill the Ayatollah, the people rise up and overthrow the government, and then we march into Tehran, as the liberators, right? And that is not how it has played out at all. The Ayatollah's
and
dead.
Now we have high gas prices going into the midterms.
Right. The government has withstood the supreme leader being killed, and the people have definitely in Iran rallied to the flag to some effect.
Yeah.
Right. So it hasn't gone the way that it was perhaps sold to them, or the way they thought. Yeah.
And of course,
I think so. That doesn't mean that Iran didn't take any black eyes. They definitely did.
No,
they got
of course.
up.
I mean, they lost their Navy, their Air Force, and the Ayatollah, which also proves they have no nuclear weapons because they would have used it then. But anyway, the economy has to bounce, which is crazy to me because we've been at this war for like 3-4 weeks now, and the economy's tanked in a month. But it's going to take months for it to bounce back, which is when you give like money to the bank or something, and they got to refund you. They took the money out of your account in 0.2 seconds. Of course. But it's 6 to 8 business weeks to get the money, the rebate, right?
That's life. Yep.
So I think this has more to do with the midterms than anything. Gas prices have to go down before Republicans start campaigning, or they're dead in the water. There's nothing they could do about it.
All speculation here, folks. All right, I got more to show. There is a surprise, a present, apparently. Let's hear what Trump had to say.
I like presents.
Trust them. Why bother talking to them? Because they're going to make a deal. They're going to make a deal. They did something yesterday that was amazing, actually. They gave us a present, and the present arrived today. And it was a very big present worth
Was it ticking?
Money. And I'm not going to tell you what that present is, but it was a very significant prize. And they gave it to us, and they said they were going to give it. So that meant one thing to me: we're dealing with the right people. Is that nuclear related? No, it wasn't nuclear related. It was oil and gas related. And it was a very nice thing they did. But what it showed me is that we're dealing with the right people. Because, you don't know, because the leadership was killed, all gone. Khomeini, all gone. As the expression goes, the past supreme leader. And then the new supreme leader was racked up, at a minimum, racked up pretty good. And everyone else was gone. And then many of the people in the third tier are gone. But we're dealing with a group of people that I think turn out. And the present, the gift they made to us was very significant. And they said they were going to do it, and it happened. And they're the only ones that could have done it.
What do you think it is?
A lot of gibberish there. Is that I saw something the other day where we just bought like 2 billion barrels worth of $2 billion worth of oil, gas and oil from Iran while we're at war with Iran. He did say it's gas and oil related. Again, if you believe anything he's saying. Yeah, my first thought was that they handed over some of the enriched uranium that they had as a token of good faith to show that they were willing to give it up or something like that. But he says no. Again, if you believe anything they had to say.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds like maybe a faction. If I had to guess, and I'm going to take Trump's word for it, that's gas and oil related. I'd say a faction within the Iranian government made a deal with them, like under the table deal, like similar to what Maduro's regime is doing now after he's been plucked out of there, right? Like, we'll just do what you say, especially regarding oil. Like they made some sort of assurance in that regard and handed over some oil physically in some sense. To them, like, they basically paid a ransom, good faith gesture sort of thing. I don't know if you could believe any of this shit. I mean, if you listen to what they're saying all this is fake and it didn't happen, et cetera, as you would probably expect them to do. I don't think the Iranians would admit, they cucked out on a certain thing or something like that, or they bitched out at any regard. So
this
strange,
is the worst
man. The
part
whole thing
of all
is
of
strange. It was a strange press conference.
It is strange, but there is a silver lining. Outside of the people that are asleep, and I think there's more people awake than there are asleep. So outside of like 50% of the boomers and the people that are asleep, to everybody, this is strange. To everybody that is awake and not part of the boomer generation is sitting there going, yeah, this sounds good and all, but we can't trust you. There's more people now that understand that this is propaganda and the fog of war than since maybe like World War One. You know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, yeah, I agree. It's hard for me to even think about what notes to take or what to even say.
No,
on
there's
a lot
no
of
notes
stuff.
to take.
I'm just saying it's hard to even think about exactly what to say here because it's so just strange. All of it. It's hard to take a definitive position on any of this shit.
Oh, dude, that's why
who the fuck's telling any sort of truth here or lying, or is all this fake? Is all this noise?
That's why I'm at the point where I'm like 50-50. Q's real or the World Economic Forum one.
Okay, one more. Yeah, I know what you mean. One more video from the press conference today. You're right over there, bud.
Well, this beer's
this isn't anything substantial. I want you to watch this. I want you to watch what this guy's saying in his mannerisms. You tell me if you notice anything.
Close with and destroy the enemy as viciously as possible from moment one. And that's why we see ourselves as part of this negotiation as well. We negotiate with bombs. You have a choice as we loiter over the top of Tehran, as the president talked about your future. The president has made it clear that you will not have a nuclear weapon. The War Department agrees. Our job is to ensure that and out and close with and destroy.
I'm sorry.
Cocaine.
I'm just gonna go out and say, oh, okay, so we're on the same page. I've been around people.
Boy ripped an alligator tail and walked out into the Oval Office.
I know what people doing some lines look like. Let's just say it that way. This motherfucker looks like he's been doing some lines.
Yeah.
He also looks nervous. You heard his you heard he was trying to gasp for air.
I've never seen a video of him agitated like that.
Was strange. So the whole thing from start to finish.
Hey, well, we learned from Joe
today.
Biden. It's really easy to get cocaine in the White House.
Maybe it was Pete Hegseth's cocaine all along.
Yeah.
All right. So after the strange press conference today, it's reported that a ceasefire deal with 15 clauses being worked on by Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner comes out. I want to highlight this and talk about it. And then the news changes right after that. But again, we're going through the chronological order.
Didn't Iran say they don't want them to negotiate anymore?
That's after this. But again, the chronological
I'm sorry.
order. That's right. So again, so here's apparently the deal that's being worked on by Witkoff and Kushner as and then change.
Why don't we just read the 15 points?
Yeah. So 15 clauses of the agreement automatically cancel the threat of reimposition of sanctions, dismantling Iran's existing nuclear capabilities, agreement with Iran vows to never seek nuclear weapons, preventing the enrichment of any nuclear material on Iranian territory, delivery of enriched uranium to the International Atomic Energy Agency, decommissioning and destroying the sites of Natanz, Isfahan, and Fordo. I mean, the places that we completely obliterated, right, when we bombed them back in June. Grant the atomic energy thing full access to all information. Iran abandons its proxies approach. Stop funding and arming militias in the region. Keep the Strait of Hormuz open without any closure. Postponement of decision on ballistic missile program. Ballistic missiles are only used for defense. lifting of all sanctions on Iran, support for the development of a civilian nuclear program in Bushehr. That's one of the sites that they use. Automatically cancel the threat of reimposition of sanctions via Al Arabiya, citing Israel's Channel 12. So this information is coming out of an Israeli news source that these 15 points are
Truthful.
what. I mean, a lot of that is ironic, right? Because a lot of these points are things that Iran publicly had already agreed to prior to the war occurring. So it's almost like the whole war was fought for nothing. These were all things Iran would have done anyway. And again, it's worth noting, like, the Ayatollah, who's now dead, issued a fatwa, a religious ruling, against them actually developing nuclear weapons. So, like, the enrichment thing was a deterrent in case this ever happened.
Okay, yeah, in case they needed to make them,
yeah. And again, remember, just people, I guess, like, you live in the moment and you forget, like, what was going on before. Like, you get, like, revisionist history almost. Remember, this was sold for months. The propaganda was, they have nukes. They're going to nuke America. Remember, they're going to send a ballistic
all the
missile.
shit my father believes.
They're going to send a ballistic missile across the earth and hit Miami with it. Remember when Netanyahu was saying that, right?
I saw was we needed to get Maduro because Maduro and the supreme leader were in cahoots with each other, and Iran was going to put a nuclear warhead in Venezuela, and then the entire East Coast could have got obliterated. That's what I saw earlier this week.
They were going to do like that cartoon where the guy rides with the cowboy hat, where he rides the warhead down out of the plane. Yeah, they were going to do that. All right, so that was reported, and then it's reported like an hour later that Iran tells the United States it does not want to resume talks with Witkoff and Kushner, prefers negotiating with Vice President J.D. Vance instead. Okay.
That, to me, is 100% propaganda.
I'm glad we agree.
I listened to our good old boy Nick Fuentes earlier today, and he had a great fucking point. All the donors want Mark Rubio. Mark Rubio, remember, he jumped up in the polls for possible 2028 presidential candidate. And the people who pulled the shadow strings from Israel don't want Mark Rubio. They want Peter Thiel guys, J.D. Vance. I think that's all fucking propaganda. They're positioning J.D. Vance to be the VP of peace to solve this problem before the fucking midterms come, and then he goes into 2028. Oh, I stopped all this. I made the peace agreement. I got us out of World War III, and that just gives him a bigger boost going into 2028, and it takes Rubio out of the fucking equate. Maybe Mark Rubio could be the vice president, but the people who pull the strings don't want Rubio in the White House. They want Vance in the White House. That's all propaganda.
I don't know. Yeah, so I saw Nick Fuentes talk about it a little bit. Sure, go.
One more thing. I don't blame Iran for not wanting
Witkoff and Kushner, being that they got fucked over twice by them so far.
I think those guys have gone as far as they can go. Whether they are corrupt or not,
their credibility is ruined.
I think at this point, like, what are they going to do at this point? You know what I mean? Like,
I agree. And I liked Witkoff after watching a lot of things.
He did good things. I don't think he didn't.
But I agree. You can't, if you're going to be deployed as a negotiator to, like, solve a problem, and two historical moments where the negotiations that you're leading end up with a surprise sneak attack and the whole thing being sort of a cover. It doesn't even matter if Witkoff knew any of that or was in on it. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was completely honestly trying to negotiate in good faith there. Right, his credibility is ruined. His honor is now besmirched. No, I wouldn't want to fucking negotiate with Steve Witkoff or Jared Kushner. I would be worried my house is going to explode.
Yeah,
right. Or something like that. If I would, so yeah, I'm. This is somewhat of a problem for another day. The interesting kind of conspiracy or thing that Nick Fuentes has put forward. Not to make myself sound smart or anything, but I also kind of watching some of these maneuvers, and as much as I like Tucker Carlson, a lot of his timing of certain things is curious also. And I wonder if there is some effort there as well, like to, don't forget, like, Tucker Carlson's son works for J.D. Vance, and as part of his team. Tucker Carlson the other day interviewed this guy in Israel who was really fucking one of the most interesting Israeli. He used to be the speaker of the Knesset, like basically the speaker of the House there, served as interim president in Israel. Like he could be billed as opposition to Netanyahu, or at least I viewed it like he's not going to run for office in Israel, but he could be like a public figure that's critical of Netanyahu in Israel. And it's like all the timing of all the
he's still breathing, so he's not that big of a threat.
It's all different groups of people, right? So again, like all the timing of all these things is curious to me. It could be an op, right? Like, trying to change who the players are going to be. New players have entered the board, and they're trying to pull the strings and influence things accordingly. There's one more quick story I want to get to before we end here. Any other thoughts on all this shit, Cap, before we get to the last story, which we'll do quickly? It's January 6th,
let's do it. I've been ranting and raving this whole time.
Yeah,
let's go.
All right,
this is the DC bomber, right?
Yes, the January 6th pipe bomber. We promised you this is a story we're going to keep a close eye on, just because it's one of those stories that fucking blows up the official narrative of January 6th. Yeah, choice words. And then even like we've said before, even within now Trump being the president, like you'd think he'd want to get to the bottom of January 6th and and Russiagate and the assassination attempt. And he doesn't give a fuck about any of that stuff. Threats to his own life.
Yeah.
Right. And this is one of those things. So
as egotistical as him,
right.
Shocking. That's how I know. That's how I know something's wrong. Because if you take a guy the way Trump has painted himself to be, whether it's an act, a psyop, or anything, if I got into office after having my ear blown off, if I got into office again after Russiagate or what happened on January 6th, heads would roll.
Right. Exactly. So credit to Blaze Media, which is a right-wing conservative publication. They always have been. They're continuing to do an investigation on this themselves, separate from the FBI. So since me and the captain last spoke to you guys about this, where there was the forensic gate analysis linking it to somebody who worked for the CIA as a security officer, if you remember that a couple months ago, there was basically an arrest and pinning it on another guy by the FBI. Brian Cole Jr., the guy's name is. So Blaze, I'm going to read some of the article, and we'll get into a tweet by the guy who worked on the Steve Baker afterwards. So he says, Brian Cole Jr.'s physical presence, posture, mannerisms are no match to the FBI's hoodie-clad pipe bomb suspect. Video analysis shows stark physical differences between Cole and the FBI's original unknown subject in the bomb case, despite his reported confession to placing explosive devices at 2 sites on Capitol Hill on January 5th, 2021. Brian Cole Jr.'s physical dimensions, gait, posture, and mannerisms are at stark odds with video clips of the hoodie-clad bomb suspect first released by the FBI more than 5 years ago. So hang on, before we even get into this, let's back up a minute. Like with as big of a story January 6th was, and the Democrats harped on at the time, the fact that somebody confessed to being the pipe bomber has not been in the fucking mainstream media news cycle whatsoever. It's almost an afterthought. I know a lot of crazy shit's going on in the world, but I mean, tell me that's not a bit odd that hasn't been a major story.
It's not
that somebody
front center
confessed to
news.
being somebody confessed to being the pipe bomber, right? A full analysis of the hoodie-wearing suspect has been complicated by poor video quality, a manipulated video frame rate, black and white images, and cropping of some of the original footage. A careful viewing of the substandard video, however, still reveals clues that don't fit the allegations that Cole is the bomber. So
he's a white male.
This isn't exact perfect science.
It's gotta be a white. Please let it be a white guy.
But again, 2 eyewitnesses described the gray hoodie suspect as a white male. Blaze News
analyst means to tell me he's a person of color.
No, I think the FBI. I think this Brian Cole Jr. guy that the FBI is saying is the guy is a black dude. Okay. I think, but what the Blaze is saying is that eyewitnesses saw the person in the hoodie as a white dude. I mean, standard, part of any investigation. What did the person look like? So Blaze News analyzed video of the hoodie suspect. The analysis indicates stark difference. Blah blah blah. So let me go over real quick to Steve Baker's tweet, which I thought was actually better than even the article that they posted on the Blaze itself.
Is this about the measurements that you said before that I was reading?
This is what an investigation should be like too, by the way. It shouldn't be up to even the Blaze to go and do this, but this is like, I just want to take you through this because this is how you should investigate something like this. So Steve says on Thursday, December 18th, I measured the exact sidewalk, gutter, and curb where Brian Cole Jr. stood and walked during his 2024 traffic accident police body cam video, giving us a perfect sample size of his Converse Chuck Taylors. Late in the evening on Friday, December 19th, I measured the exact bricks in the alley behind the RNC where the hoodie-wearing bomber was captured walking on video, giving us a clear sample size of the Nike Air Max Speed Turf shoes worn during the placement of that pipe bomb. On Saturday morning, December 20th, I then measured the exact concrete sidewalk squares at the DNC where FBI released video shows the hoodie-wearing pipe bombers walking to deliver that particular device a couple of minutes later. Coincidentally, on Sunday, December 20th, I suffered acute heart failure. Today, finally, we reveal months
I
of
think
work.
the CIA gave him heart failure.
Dude, I mean, he's just putting that in there as kind of like this derailed my investigation. But that was the first thing I thought. I'm like, is he trying to say that they tried to whack him or something like that? It's not what he's trying to say.
Heard
but
stories as far back as the 70s
a heart
that they
attack
had a
gun.
heart attack gun.
Yeah,
so
right. Maybe. Who knows? Okay,
I put my hands up. I put my hands up.
Me
I don't
too.
know.
So, okay, so here's a lot of the work that we've been putting in for months. What we learned from simple old school gumshoe investigation efforts is that Brian Cole Jr.'s size is 12 to 12 and a half. The hoodie wearing bomber's shoe size is 9 to 9 and a half. Cole did not stuff his feet into a shoe 3 sizes smaller than his own to walk around for 45 minutes and plant bombs on the evening of January 5th, 2021. If either Ray or Patel's FBI did not do the same measurements, they are woefully incompetent. If they did, they know they have the wrong person and are lying to the court and the American people. So if the shoe fits, if the glove fits, right, in the sense they're saying all this, gumshoe investigation stuff, the shoe that this guy is wearing does not fit the actual size of the suspect that the FBI has for this, like the actual real suspect, the real suspect the FBI has.
Because let's be real. They know who the suspect is. The suspect is well known in some intelligence community. It was clearly sent by a Pelosi camp. It's clearly sent by a Biden camp. Clearly sent either by CIA or FBI. Scagz Patel knows exactly who it is. And you know what I'm more curious of at this point right now? Because we're not going to get justice for this. I want to know the inner workings of how they pin this on this guy and he agrees to it. So what do they do? Like, do they pay like his spouse like $20 million and then he goes to jail for like a day and then he gets transferred to like a club fed and he stays there for like a week and then like him and his family just move to like Brazil or something,
right?
And they're never seen
maybe
again.
He's fucking MK Ultra or some shit, and
or that too, and like they just turn off his MK Ultra and he just sits in a cell and rots. Right? Like,
who knows, dude? But it definitely does not fucking seem like that's the guy. The whole story has stunk from the get-go. The Blaze has done good investigating. Again, we go back to our episode where we talked about how they did the forensic gate analysis, and their analysis matched, I think it was like 95% to a CIA security employee at the time. And that's not the person the FBI is arrested and is pinning it on now. It's another guy who's confessed to it, right? So
because they can't let you know who was involved, man.
It seems like it's...
Imagine if those bombs went off, how much crazier this would all be too.
Oh, yeah. It seems, if I had to guess, the Trump camp has been told, don't touch this. Leave this alone. This isn't worth... whatever
I don't even think
uncover here isn't worth it.
I don't even think they need to tell the Trump camp. I think so
like factions, one faction told the other.
There's this story of I think who was after Nixon? Not Reagan.
Was it Ford? Who was after Nixon? I don't remember.
There's some guys that were in the inner workings of the president after Nixon or whatever, right?
Ford, yeah. It was
Ford. They found out that not all the presidents get all the same information.
Of course.
Right? So Bill Clinton got into office and he was like, all right, guys, tell me about the aliens. And the CIA was like, nah, you're good. You know what I mean? He wasn't privy to this information where other presidents are. And I think it's the same thing where, you know, Trump's in office and he's just not privy to January 6th. Or he is, you know what I
they're
mean? 'Cause he's
curating
part of
what
the
they tell
psyop.
you. I mean, this kind of was what Joe Kent was, if you want to believe Joe Kent, it's kind of what Joe Kent was saying last week, and he's been saying, he's been on the circuit, you know, like they're just carefully curating exactly what the information
Yeah,
they
they're
give the
shaping
president.
history.
I'm saying what information they give the president, like they're framing the entire ecosystem he's in. Remember, even Tucker did say, you know, I was told don't come because he's been shown polling that shows this is extremely popular, right? So who knows, dude? Who knows? Tweets of the week. Any other thoughts on anything at all? Are you ready for tweets of the
I'm
week?
tired of thinking, bro.
Oh, do we want to quick talk about our liquor story real quick? That's a
tell this. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let me set you this up. Our good boy, Mr. B, Brian, is a bourbon liquor connoisseur. He has a very wide range of
whiskey
bourbons. Yeah. He has so if you watch our Doomed reviews,
which we're going to be doing one for this one, definitely.
Yeah, and we always focus on whiskey, even though tequila sipping season's here. Anyway, B has a very large collection, and actually this week, B and I found out that he has an above average liquor collection. If you have the average collector has like 3 or 4 bottles or whatever, and above average people have like 50 bottles. Well, Brian's got like 70, 80 bottles, right? Like easily. He's got an entire liquor cabinet. And so he saw something on Facebook, and Scagz, you could take over the story now.
Yeah, he texted me. A liquor store not that far from me posted that a rare bottle of Weller's made by Buffalo Trace was for sale at this random liquor store. That's like about half an hour away from me at the time. And he's like, yo, can you go get this? This is a rare bottle. Like, you know,
and mind you, this bottle goes for hundreds. They were selling it for like 60 bucks, right?
65. Yeah. And again, we'll do a review of the story. I'm sure it'll be retold, but he's like, if you could go get it real quick, it's going to sell out real quick. Going to go for it or not. This is in the middle of me being at work. This is the exact same time that the whole market manipulation thing is happening on Monday morning. So again, like while people are making trillions in the stock market, we're securing a fucking rare bottle of Weller. Long story short, coworker friend of mine is from the area. I asked her if she could go and grab it on her way home from work. She's friends with people in the fire department in the town that the liquor store is in, and the fire department chief went and got the bottle for us at the liquor store, and then I got it already. It's going to be on our way Saturday. So Saturday afternoon, it's not going to be live. It'll be one of our pre-recorded things. We'll be doing a Doomed review of one of the new rare Weller.
The Wellers, whiskeys. Yeah. And funny enough, that Weller is in my liquor store across the street. He got it for, like you said, $65.
Yeah.
They're selling it for like $150 over here.
There you go. All right. All right. Tweets of the week. Let's do it.
Sir.
Let's do it.
Mine is not political. So if all of yours are political, just save mine for last.
Okay.
Mine is a epic story that we are all going to enjoy.
Okay. My first one is by Dr. Simon.
Nothing's up. You're not sharing nothing.
I know. I was waiting.
Okay.
So it's a reply to Mark Levin. So Mark Levin says it's important to revisit this. This is suicidal insanity of the Roke Reich, neo-fascists. It's not about forever wars, America first, or MAGA. It's affirmatively encouraging to development and acquisition of nuclear weapons program. Mark Levin. Dr. Simon Godek tweets, and this is a moldy slice of bread. It will get more likes than your post. And it did. It got 56,000 likes. The moldy slice of bread compared to the 1.4 thousand that Mark Levin got.
It's amazing to me that after everything, it's not like we haven't been around for the past 30 years. It's amazing to me that people are like, you know, oh, this isn't another regime change forever war. Okay, maybe it's not. Maybe it's not, right? Good chance it's not. But if anything, the past 30 years have told us is that this is another 20-year regime change forever war. That's the problem. That's the problem. We have no other timeline to go against this information.
It's a good point. You also, like, Look, you want to have a good old-fashioned academic debate where we could debate if it's going to be or not, and you want to make a counter argument fair. But my God, the hostility with which these people like Mark Levin, will go after anyone who's making that point. It's like Tucker Carlson's made this point. It's like, you won everything. Like, you guys get everything you want.
Yeah.
You even got the war finally. Like, could you at least have some grace in having won all of these things all the time? Yeah, Jesus. Yeah. Anyway, so that's why I believe you need to be ruthless to these fucking warmongering lunatics.
Don't hate them enough.
They don't deserve polite society. All right, this one, I can't believe this was a real tweet, but it was. Taylor Lorenz, who is a journalist, tweeted, if you're traveling to Cuba or any impoverished community, or just generally, you should be wearing a mask. We're 6 years into an ongoing pandemic, and airborne disease is real. No matter how many leftists want to scream and stomp their feet and shout RFK talking points. It's really so easy to not infect and kill people around you. No one is saying you have to be perfect, but if you respond to disabled people asking you to not kill/maim them and other vulnerable folks by having a meltdown instead of showing basic solidarity, you are not a serious person. So Taylor Lorenz,
get this off the screen. I don't ever want to see another tweet from her again.
Taylor Lorenz, who's still talking about wear a mask because of COVID,
is 6-year pandemic.
Yeah, it's talking about other people not being a serious person. My goodness. I read that. I thought it was parody at first. It is not.
You know what the funny part is? Bill Gates is currently geoengineering another pandemic. He already said it is. The next pandemic that comes out, all these people are going to forget about COVID like day one. Day one of flattening the curve, they won't even remember the past 6 years.
No, they won't. All right.
Disgusting.
Last one. What do you got?
Is this mine?
Yep. This is
yours.
It's
a video.
Okay. You want me to just play the video?
Okay. Yes. So if anybody who knows the wrestler, UFC fighter, Brock Lesnar, don't press play yet. He has a giant sword, brass knuckles, dagger tattooed across his chest and stomach. He was on a podcast and they asked him about it. And his response is nothing short of fucking epic.
Sword in your chest. What was the idea behind it? It's intimidating.
I got that tattoo. I was shit-faced drunk in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Okay, I did it. Oh,
yeah. I did it. I was in Scottsdale training for the NFL, had just gotten in a motorcycle accident, and I was just kicked down hard. Like I was going through all that stuff.
I remember that.
There was a tattoo shop across the street from the biker bar, and that's not a good place to have a tattoo shop. All right. I got this tattoo. I didn't even know I got the damn thing. I wake up the next day and I'm like, what in the is this thing?
Well, at least it's subtle. At least it's not on your face.
But the meaning behind it was I felt like my back was against the wall and somebody had a sword, a knife stuck to my throat. Like, what are you gonna do now? You know what I mean? So that's I walked over there and I said, yeah, let's put a big ass ugly sword on my chest.
I love the melodramaticness of rich people. I felt like I had a sword up. You're a fucking multi-millionaire.
I always hated that tattoo. When he came back to when he showed up in the UFC with it, I was like, that is terrible. But what a great story. I never expected Brock Lesnar of all people to be like, yeah, I was shit-faced, blackout drunk. Imagine, dude, that's no little butterfly ankle tattoo. That's your whole chest and stomach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a major fuck up. Definitely. That's like that's worse than what happened in the Hangover movie with Stu's face. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of the devil, and he shall appear also. Mr. B drops in the comments, says, always wondered what that sword represented. Yeah, I've never fucking looked it up either. Brock Lesnar's sword there. But that is a great story. Yeah, it's pretty funny. Definitely, without a doubt. He didn't say if he regrets it or not. Did he say if he regrets it or not?
No, you know what? He just fucking rocks with it. It's intimidating. It gives him edge, you know?
It's a good story, too, I guess, at the end of the day, right? Yeah, it's a pretty good story.
Fucking it always reminds. It sounds like we need to go there.
I've been there. Fun fucking place. Yeah. Great spot. Yeah. All right. That's our show. Doom review coming soon.
Yes, we will see you guys next week. Expect a doomed review of some tasty dark liquor from the Weller Buffalo Trace What is it, Buffalo Trace or is it Weller?
Yeah, I think it's Buffalo Trace makes Weller. Yep.
Okay, so we got a Weller review coming this weekend, this Saturday. As long as Donald Trump doesn't try and short the market again, we will be out
or
there.
Or the Ayatollah launches the nukes and wipes us all out that he doesn't have.
All right, Doom Nation, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We will be back next week. As always, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. On that note, adios, everybody.